A raging storm. A car stranded on the side of the road. When Jace Hamilton stops to help, the last person he expects to find is Ava, his ex-wife, missing for 5 years. But she's not alone, and the secret she carries will change everything. The past is back. Now what happens next? Before we dive into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from. The music thrummed through the crystal chandeliers, each note dripping with money. Beatrice Lima stood at the edge of the Aurora Foundation's grand ballroom, her borrowed heels pinching her toes. The second-hand silk dress she'd carefully altered felt suddenly like a beacon of inadequacy. She clutched her invitation like armor. The embossed gold lettering mocked her. Annual charity gala, black tie required. Can I help you find the staff entrance? A woman in pearls and tax write-offs glided past. I'm here for the gala. Beatrice's voice barely carried over the quartet. Oh. Pearl's eyebrows arched. Well, don't let anyone catch you using the guest powder room? Heat crawled up Beatrice's neck. She'd donated thousands online, anonymously. The cause, children needing heart surgery, felt sacred. Her sister's face haunted these walls. The ballroom shimmered with privilege. Businessmen in Armani suits compared portfolios. Their wives compared diamonds. Beatrice compared herself to furniture. Beatrice? Beatrice? She turned. Her old university. Roommate Mariana rushed forward. I didn't think you'd come. The invitation. Of course, you donated online, right? Small but meaningful, I'm sure. Small. The word stung like a paper cut. Excuse me. Beatrice slipped away, finding refuge near the silent auction table. Vintage wine, luxury watches, Caribbean getaways. Items worth more than her monthly rent. She studied her reflection in a mirrored display. Dark circles betrayed sleepless nights. Her dress, though carefully pressed, whispered thrift store. Among these thoroughbreds, she was a barn cat. But she'd come with purpose. Tonight's funds would save lives. Her sister's death had taught her that much. First humiliation. Ladies, the bidding opens in 20 minutes, announced Mrs. Vanessa Carvalho, the gala chair. Her red lips stretched into a practiced smile that died when she spotted Beatrice. Dear, are you supposed to be here? Vanessa touched Beatrice's sleeve like testing fabric quality. Yes, I have an invitation. Of course you do. Security's so lax these days. Vanessa leaned closer. Between us, sweetheart, there's a lovely consignment shop on Rua Consolação. Much more your speed than this crowd. 2 other women joined, perfectly coiffed predators. Who's your guest? Asked one, scanning for a wealthy connection. I'm alone, Beatrice admitted. The women exchanged glances. How brave, said Vanessa. Most people understand these events are for networking, building relationships. I support the cause. Beatrice's voice steadied. Support? Vanessa's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Darling, buying a ticket isn't support. Support requires zeros, multiple zeros. Heat prickled Beatrice's skin. Her donation, larger than theirs combined, remained locked in anonymity. Enjoy. The canapes, Vanessa dismissed her. But perhaps avoid the champagne. It's Veuve Clicquot, quite expensive. The women glided away, leaving Beatrice alone with burning cheeks. She should leave. Dignity demanded it. Instead, she moved to an empty corner, telling herself her purpose mattered more than their opinions. Second humiliation. The cocktail hour dragged. Beatrice nursed 1 glass of water, watching the social ballet. Groups formed and dissolved around her like oil-repelling water. Testing, testing, the microphone squealed. Carlos Bittencourt, the foundation's president, took the stage. Welcome, friends. Before dinner, let's acknowledge our silent auction leaders. Names were called. Rodrigo Santos won the Rolex. Flavia Mendes secured the Cape Town package. Each winner stood for applause, and our top bid so far, 10,000 rays for the Bordeaux collection, goes to Vanessa Carvalho. Vanessa practically floated to the stage. I'm blessed to give back, she gushed. As my husband always says, those who have must share. Beatrice wondered how much Vanessa's dress cost. How many surgeries could her jewelry fund? Before we close bidding, Carlos continued, we have one spectacular item, a weekend in the Caribbean donated by the Costa family. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The Costa family owned a steel empire. Vanessa waved from her table. "I'll start. 20,000. 22, countered Mr. Santos. 25, Vanessa struck back. The bidding ping-ponged higher. Beatriz watched, then quietly filled out a slip. She walked to the registration table. "Excuse me," she said softly. "I'd like to bid on the Caribbean package." The volunteer glanced up. "The current bid is 40,000 rees, I'm aware." Beatriz slid her slip across. The volunteer read it. Her eyes widened. "I need to confirm this with the president." "Of course." Minutes later, Carlos approached the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a dramatic development. The Caribbean package has a new high bidder, 50,000 reais." Gasps erupted. 50,000 was triple Vanessa's last offer. "But who?" someone demanded. Carlos hesitated. He held the slip like evidence. "The bidder wishes to remain anonymous." Eyes scanned the room, searching for the mysterious donor. Beatrice kept her gaze fixed on her empty plate, but Vanessa stood, fury beneath her smile. How delightful. Anonymous. Generosity is so trendy these days, from those who prefer shadows to spotlights. She looked directly at Beatrice. Perhaps they're embarrassed about their methods. Not everyone earns their money with clean hands. Heads turned toward Beatrice. The implication hung heavy as cigar smoke. "I didn't," Beatrice began. "No need to explain." Vanessa waved dismissively. "We all have our reasons for secrecy." Third, humiliation. Dinner arrived in courses. Beatrice sat at table 47, the furthest from the stage. Her tablemates barely acknowledged her presence. Between the entree and dessert, Carlos returned to the podium. "Now for our main event, announcing this year's donations. These generous souls keep our mission alive." He began with smaller donors. Applause punctuated each announcement. Then came the major gifts. The Souza family, 50,000 reais. Marcus Pereira and Associates, 75,000. The Carvalho Foundation, 100,000. Vanessa stood again, basking in attention. "We believe in transparency," she proclaimed. "Hiding behind anonymity suggests shame. Wouldn't you agree, everyone?" She looked pointedly at Beatrice. The room's energy shifted. An undercurrent of accusation swept toward table 47. "I give freely," Beatrice said, surprising herself. Her voice carried clear, without expecting recognition. "That's what they all say," Vanessa sneered. "Usually when their money smells questionable." "Money has no smell," Beatrice countered, "but intentions do." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Care to share yours? Openly? Match my donation, perhaps? 100,000 right now, unless you're afraid. We'll investigate where it comes from." The challenge hung in the air. Every eye focused on Beatrice. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She could flee, preserve her anonymity, let them think what they wished, or she could choose truth. Carlos stepped forward. "Mrs. Carvalho, that's unnecessary." "No." Beatrice stood slowly. "It's fine. I accept." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Vanessa's smile turned predatory. "Show us your matching gift," she demanded. "Unless you want to admit you can't." Beatrice walked to the stage, heels clicking against marble. She faced the crowd, then turned to Carlos. "I'd like to make a donation," she said quietly. 500,000 reais. Silence crashed over the ballroom. "I'm sorry?" Carlos blinked. 500,000, she repeated, "for the Children's Heart Surgery Fund." Vanessa's face drained of color. That's impossible." "It's quite possible." Beatrice pulled out her phone. "I can transfer it immediately." Her fingers trembled as she navigated the banking app. The crowd watched, transfixed, as she confirmed the transaction. "Transfer complete," she announced. Carlos checked his phone. His eyes widened. It's confirmed. 500,000 reais from... He looked at the name on the transfer. From the Daniel Moraes Memorial Foundation. Revelation scene. The name dropped like a bomb. Daniel. Moraes, tech prodigy, philanthropist, lost innovator. His death 2 years ago had dominated headlines for weeks. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. Forks clattered onto plates. Wine glasses froze halfway to lips. Daniel's widow. Someone whispered it like discovering a myth was real. Vanessa swayed. Slightly. You can't be. I am. Beatrice's voice remained steady despite her shaking hands. Daniel left me his estate, everything he built, everything he dreamed of using to help others. The room transformed. Those who'd ignored her suddenly leaned forward. Social barracudas tasted blood and opportunity in the water. But why hide? Asked Carlos gently. Daniel's legacy could inspire. Because of this, Beatrice gestured to the suddenly rapt faces. When people know, they change. They become performing seals. She glanced at Vanessa. Or sharks. 500,000. Vanessa slumped into her chair, calculations visible behind her eyes. Her entire year's philanthropy suddenly looked like pocket change. It's not about the amount, Beatrice continued. Daniel taught me that. It's about genuine help, real change. Not publicity or tax deductions or social status, she addressed the room. I came tonight to support children who need hope, children like my sister was. She died waiting for a surgery we couldn't afford. Her voice cracked. Daniel understood that pain. He grew up poor too, made his fortune, then dedicated himself to ensuring wealth never determined who lives and dies. Lucas Marias appeared at the edge of the crowd, Daniel's younger brother, a cardiologist. He'd kept his distance since the funeral, respecting her. Grief. Now he moved forward, pride in his eyes. Beatrice, he said softly, you've honored his vision perfectly. I've tried to stay invisible, she admitted, but tonight showed me that sometimes visibility serves a purpose. The ballroom remained still. Vanessa finally spoke, her voice small. I apologize for my assumptions. Beatrice nodded. Accept my matching your 100,000. Let's call it even. She turned to Carlos. The rest stands for the children. Applause started slowly, then built. Some clapped for redemption, others for the unexpected fortune in their midst, many for genuine admiration. But Beatrice barely heard. She descended the stage, her secret released like a held breath. Lucas offered his arm. Together they moved toward the exit. Immediate aftermath. The night air struck her flushed face. Beatrice leaned against the building's marble exterior, breathing deeply. You're shaking, Lucas observed. I feel exposed. Her fingers fumbled for stability against the wall. Like I peeled off my skin. You peeled off a lie. He smiled kindly. There's a difference. Inside, commotion erupted. Doors burst open. Mariana rushed out, followed by others. Beatrice, why didn't you tell me? We were roommates. I'm sorry. Beatrice's voice trembled. I just wanted normalcy. Normal. Mariana touched her arm. You're the most honest person I know. You've been philanthropic since college. Remember scraping together funds for João's insulin? Others gathered, some apologetic, others calculating networking angles. Beatrice felt cornered again, but differently now. Please, she managed. I need space. Of course. Lucas gently guided her away. Your car? I took the bus, she admitted. My car's here. He led her to a modest sedan. No judgment, just escape. As they drove away, Beatrice glimpsed Vanessa through the ballroom windows. The woman sat alone at her table, staring at her champagne glass like it contained answers. She'll recover, Lucas said, reading her thoughts. People like that always do. I didn't mean to humiliate her, you didn't. You merely held up a mirror. Beatrice closed her eyes. The night felt surreal. This morning, she'd been invisible. Now she was infamous. Where to? Lucas asked. Home. Then softer, though I don't know what that means anymore. Resolution. Beatrice's apartment felt different, no longer a hiding place, but a launching pad. She made tea while Lucas explained the foundation's sudden windfall. 500,000. We'll change everything, he said. Surgeries that can happen now instead of next year. Good. She handed him a mug. That's what matters. What happens to you now? She considered. I'll stay anonymous for other donations, but tonight, showed me something. What's that? Hiding isn't always protection. Sometimes it's cowardice, disguised as humility. Lucas nodded. Daniel would agree. They discussed the foundation. Lucas revealed he'd been consulting unofficially, reviewing potential surgery cases. His pediatric cardiology expertise perfectly matched her funding focus. We could work together, he suggested carefully. Officially, make informed decisions about which cases need immediate help. Yes. The word felt like opening a window. I'd like that. The conversation stretched into morning. They shared memories of Daniel, his relentless optimism, his terrible cooking, his ability to find potential where others saw problems. You're like him, Lucas said finally. Finding solutions. Where people only see limitations. I just want to help. Beatrice felt exhausted but lighter. Without the performance. You don't need to perform, you never did. By dawn, they'd outlined a new approach. Targeted interventions, strategic giving, efficiency over spectacle. Beatrice would remain largely private, but not invisible. Her donation would inspire others, not through publicity, but through results. Epilogue. 6 months later, Beatrice Torres's Children's Heart Center opened in a São Paulo suburb. The facility bore her maiden name, a quiet compromise between visibility and anonymity. The medical press noticed first, then major donors. Soon, hospitals worldwide inquired about the innovative program that achieved dramatic success rates with minimal overhead. Beatrice worked there weekly, not as a benefactor making grand rounds, but as a volunteer coordinating family support. She understood fear firsthand, offered comfort that wealth alone couldn't provide. Vanessa Carvalho surprised everyone by approaching Beatrice at the center's opening. I'd like to volunteer, she said simply. If you'll have me. Beatrice accepted. People change. Sometimes humility arrives through humiliation. Lucas joined the center's medical team. Their collaboration evolved naturally. Colleagues became friends. Friends became something more careful, tender, and true. The Gala incident became local legend. But Beatrice preferred newer stories. Children leaving the center healthy, families crying happy tears, lives transformed not through money alone, but through genuine care. Mariana visited monthly, bringing former classmates who'd scrounged insulin money years ago. They understood Beatrice's journey better than socialites ever could. The center's walls displayed one photo, Daniel smiling at a children's hospital in Brasilia. Beneath it, a plaque. True wealth means sharing hope. Beatrice lived that truth daily, not hiding, not performing, simply being what she'd always been, someone who knew suffering and chose to ease it for others. Moral: true worth isn't displayed through appearances or announcements, but through quiet generosity that transforms lives. The most powerful revelations come not from seeking spotlight, but from living authentically while serving others. Sometimes our greatest strengths emerge when we stop hiding from our true selves.